2 weeks ago, I talked a lot about media item handling, and I still sustain that it's different to talk about media items and to talk about MIDI items. I do think they are two different things within the Reaper workflow, and they both can't do the same things. That's why I will make a video on the MIDI items and the whole piano roll editor. And if you missed it, the last week I made a big summary on 10 of the updates of Reaper, and I will keep on making every 10 updates a big summary that's around 20 minutes long, so you can get the most out of all of those updates if you don't feel like updating every single change log that shows up. Today, I will go into how we relate with the media items using the mouse modifiers and a little bit of your media handling inside a session, with a couple of suggestions here and there. Straight from Mexico City, my name is Juanchis, and today I have this example. And that's more or less the idea. This will work. So I will be showing my configurations of the mouse modifiers on screen, so you can just screenshot them or look for the actions yourself. And as I already explained step by step, but I will only go over them. Remember that you can log your media items, you can mute them, you can add comments, so you can leave reference for other sessions. You can add effects chains on top of it and apply them as takes or new items. You can use the internal envelopes. Of course, you can fade it, you can split it, because turning this into two splitting, and then you can crossfade this. But today I will be talking about other options that we have. So again, for you to be able to follow me, if you want to customize your own workflow, you have to go into Actions, Options, Preferences, and under Editing Behavior and Mouse Modifiers, you will find a lot of context where your mouse interacts with all of Reaper. And I will concentrate on these ones particularly. At least most of them, media item. So there is no surprise that whenever you left-click a media item, it's selected. After that, you can use some other tricks. So you can add to the selection by only holding Shift. One that I really use a lot that doesn't seem too obvious is maybe I have 3 items and I'm trying to select all of them. And maybe I'm trying to select 2 of them. And maybe I just want to invert my decision. So I can just hold Command. So for other situations, what might happen is that you might want to select all of the media items in one track by double-clicking on this header of the track control panel, and you might want to toggle the selection of only one of them by holding Command. So if I hold Shift and I still drag, what you will see, and this is a very common thing that I do from my Ableton Live workflow, is that sometimes for editing and handling better audio, I will just drag the content. Of course, this works better if the content is looped. If the content isn't looped, you will be dragging into silence, of course. So double click and turn on the loop source or set it up by default. Under Project and Item Loop Defaults, Imported Items, MIDI Items, Recorded Items, and Glued Items. Especially when you're cleaning up something like this, you might want to really tune in where do you want it to end. And something like this is really useful to tune it really well. If I left drag on my items, what will happen usually is that I just move them around. So in most programs, what I ended up finding out is that by holding Command, you can just copy items. So I made it work exactly like that on Reaper. I added a modifier Shift so it ignores my snap. So even if I'm trying to move across the grid. So if my snapping is on for any reason and I just want to skip it, whenever I'm copying something, I can hold Shift and Command. This might be useful, especially if you're working with something like free track positioning, that's a per track action, and you're trying to edit something and you're trying to replace, for example, with this part of the groove something over here. You can just set up your cursor first and then just start dragging into it until it fits without losing your grid necessarily. Later this video we will look at this session, but if you see, there's a different icon on my right than on my left. And this means that that there's pulled information contained from this clip into this clip, from this clip to this clip, and that lets us connect different media items despite them being anywhere on your session. So if by any chance I add any sort of media item right here, what will happen is that you will see that it's being modified on both of them, even though this isn't looped. So for an action like that, I have Command and Option. And whenever I drag, it instantly generates that icon that's letting me know that I have pulled information in the case of MIDI items. As you can see, the next one is Adjust Item Volume. In the case of MIDI items, you're working with velocity that results in volume changes. So if I hold Ctrl and I bring this down, you will see that the velocity is times 0.2, 0.3, or 1, or 2, or whatever. And this will make 3 different volumes. And the same thing happens with audio. I edit a lot of the things that I record, so I like to be able to do stuff like this as fast as possible without having to go and find this small volume knob up here that I used to use a lot until I started setting up my mouse modifiers a lot more to my way of thinking. You can keep it there because it's easier to just double click it and reset the volume to 0. And if by any chance I want to detune something, because that's an interesting choice, you can just hold Option and Ctrl, and you will see that the icon changes into a small tuner and you start going by semitones. If you're trying to do something extreme, like 24 semitones, it's probably faster to just double click the item, and now you can change it. And you can see that the spectral peaks that I use reflect that, so it's up 2 octaves. Whenever I double click the media items, I get all of these options that I have gone through on the past video. And I remember someone telling me about this shortcut. I'm sorry if I don't remember your name, but the thing is that I used to have an action on my keyboard to set up my time selection on Command L to set time selection to items. But you can just hold Shift and double click the top part of the media item and it will change the time selection or the loop selection. If you're dealing with takes or comps, you can always use Shift plus Option or Command plus Option to just look at a list. If by any chance you want to see it that way, like that also works. Moving on to the bottom half of the media items, I remember when I was starting to use Reaper a couple of years ago that I find it so painful to having to go up top to drag again and find a way to select time without selecting the media item. And I found out that you can use the bottom half of it as time selection. You could leave the upper half as well, but like whatever you want. I just like to use the bottom half with the left click dragging as a way of selecting time. And that's the only thing that I use with dragging at the bottom. Also on the bottom half, what I ended up using, and I showed this, is the cycling through rank up and rank down system. Like I just do it right here, and I have it set up in Option because that's a key that I don't use way too much when I'm really zoomed out. Otherwise, I found myself constantly making mistakes and ranking up things that I didn't want to rank. And the last one that's really useful on the bottom half is just selecting or being able to solo something without having to go all the way to the left or clicking the track and hitting S for solo. Maybe you have a bigger session and you just want to solo this track. I can hold Ctrl and click the bottom half, and that solos the track itself. So on the fading side of things, what you can try and do is a lot of people like just doing dragging and fading into things. But sometimes that's a little bit slow for me. So I just like to left click, hit a shortcut from working with Pro Tools to fade items into cursor or to fade out, right? And if you want to change the shape of the fade, you can just right click it. Even if you have something in between and you're crossfading between these two items and you want to change the shape of it, you can just right click it and you can either go into the crossfade editor and use any sort of preset that you might want, or you can remove all of the fades by just holding Option and left clicking. And for me, that's super fast for editing. Also because sometimes you're dragging a fade into a transient. So again, if you're not using yet the move cursor to transient in items, that works with the dynamic split items settings, where a transient is identified by the threshold itself, you will see how I could just go into a transient and then make a fade into it. Most of the modifiers that I have for my fades have to do more with snapping or not to the grid, but like I won't jabber about it. Like it's just that, use it if it fits your workflow. Again, the whole deal of working with take markers is that I have set up a shortcut for edit take marker, and I can add a text instantly, and now it's right there. And of course, again, I can just use command to copy this into other places. So moving into other things that could prove beneficial if you didn't know yet on how to start dealing with your MIDI items, is that these can also work with fades. And remember that fades can respond to velocity. And you can find this option under Projects, Item Fade Defaults, and apply fade in, fade out crossfade preferences to MIDI items. That way you can fade out any drum loop before turning it into audio, so you can have some idea of how it feels or how it sounds. But remember that this is velocity, this is not yet gain or level. But of course, the big question of this video is, how do you deal with big sessions where you're trying to still figure out and you're still on that loopy state and you're not sure if you're going to replace something or if that's the final take of something? So you can just pull items so they share and modify every single thing. So let's suppose for a moment that my A right here is my verse and this is my chorus, right? If I change something on this MIDI item on the first A, it won't change on my second verse because they are not connected. For that to happen, I would have to extend this MIDI item, having it looped in some way, modify it, then cut it, then mute what's in between, and that would let me share some sort of action. But if I want to change something again on this side, it won't be reflected on the other side of the second verse. So for that purpose, we have something like pulled items. And since I showed you already, I have a mouse modifier for that, even when I'm just removing these loopy media items by selecting time and hitting glue items. So the thing is that if I just want to build another chorus, what I would end up doing is I would hold command because it's my copy modifier, and I would just drag it here, but it's not looped. So I'll probably end up double clicking here and then erasing all of the contents. And even though it's kind of a pain, I would just drag and pull all of my items. A faster way of doing that would be selecting my first media item, holding Shift, so I can add to selection the rest vertically, and then I can use my copy with pulled information mouse modifier, and I can just drag them and let them drop. If you have a much bigger vertical project, a shortcut like toggle track zoom to height might be useful depending on your needs, either to maximum height or to minimum height if you just want to try and see every single track, but that's as easy as it gets. And the bonus of this idea, once we go deeper into automation, that I have made a couple of videos on it, is that you can also create an automation item by doing some time selection and just running that action. And you will see that they are starting to get a number and then the name of the parameter and the plugin that they belong to. But again, the issue of this is that whenever you have a first verse and a second verse, and you just want to modify, for whatever reason, the automation of the first verse, it's not getting copied into the second verse. But if you have pulled that share the same first number because they are the same, if you want to change one, it will change both of them at the same time. And most of these media item mouse modifiers work as well for automation items. As you can see, I can stretch them. And if I'm doing some razor editing, I can do some strange twisting and handling. But this video is more a way of trying to entice you into fiddling around with how do you want Reaper to react to whatever you're thinking and how you can get there faster. As usual, these videos have to do more with workflow or listening, so be sure to check out the rest of my videos. And if you like this type of content, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join us on Discord. Of course, link in the description. And straight from Mexico City, my name is Juanchis, and thanks for listening.